Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to Solidaritas untuk Papua, Asia Pacific Solidarity for West Papua Concert. I am Paul from the Volunteer Secretariat of ILPS Commission 10 or the ILPS Working Group on the Rights of the Indigenous Peoples, National Minorities and Oppressed Nations and Nationalities. On the first day of July, the West Papua Support Network, MERDECA, International League of People Struggle Asia Pacific, ILPS Asia Pacific, and the Indigenous Peoples Movement for Self-Determination and Liberation, IPMSDL, co-launched a Solidarity Month for West Papua in commemoration of the 49th anniversary of the People's Proclamation of the Republic of West Papua. The Solidarity Month aims to contribute to the global awareness through an intensive information campaign. Every week this July, we had weekly webinars discussing different issues and themes about West Papua's struggle for self-determination. We had last July 11, a webinar about the land, the people, and history of West Papua. Last July 18, we talked about the theoretical framework of self-determination. And last July 28, we had a webinar about West Papua movements. And you can go back and revisit this comprehensive and very informative discussions in the ILPS Asia Pacific and IPMSDL Facebook pages, and also at the MERDECA Secretariat YouTube channel. And now to formally welcome everyone and to open our program, here's Sarojeni Rengam, the Executive Director of Pesticide Action Network, or FANAP, Asia Pacific, and also the ILPS Vice Chair for Asia Pacific.
Today we celebrate the struggle of West Papuan people through songs and cultural performance of liberation and independence. Merdeka, West Papua. While this is the last day of the Solidarity Month for West Papua's struggle for self-determination and freedom that was organized by the International League of People Struggles, ILPS Asia Pacific, Indigenous Peoples Movement for Self-Determination and Liberation, and the Merdeka West Papua Support Network, it is not the end of the solidarity support for the struggle of the West Papuan people. It is ongoing until West Papua is free and liberated. Hingga menang, hingga menang. 49 years ago, West Papua declared its independence following the subversion of the decolonization process and annexation of West Papua by Indonesia. The New York Agreement in 1963, brokered by the US, transferred West Papua from the control of the Netherlands to Indonesia. West Papuan people have struggled against oppression and repression of the imperialist-backed Indonesian government, alongside the plunder of the rich natural resources of West Papua by the imperialists and local Indonesian ruling elites. They also confront deep-rooted racism and marginalization. We see that the calls of the West Papuans for self-determination and liberation are met with state violence, and many of its leaders are jailed, killed, and have disappeared. The ILPS Asia Pacific enjoins its members, anti-imperialist groups, and solidarity groups for West Papua to continue to express solidarity with the West Papuan struggle against repression and plunder, and for the self-determination and liberation. ILPS is an anti-imperialist and democratic formation that promotes, supports the development of democratic and imperialist struggles of the people, workers, peasants, women, youth, indigenous peoples, and other sectors of the world. Its broad mass character unites, cooperates, and coordinates anti-imperialist and democratic struggles, as well as opposes, exposes oppressive policies, acts of imperialist states and their TNCs, as well as their international agencies that facilitate the oppression of people. So ILPS is there with the struggles of the West Papuan peoples, and we call for Merdeka for West Papuans. Merdeka for West Papuans. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih Sarojeni Rengam daripada Pesticide Action Network, PANAP dan ILPS. Salam damai, selamat sejahtera dan selamat datang ke majlis yang begitu gilang gemilang sekali, acara budaya dan muzik yang dipancarkan khas kepada anda. Saya, juru heba anda, bersama-sama dengan Paul Belisario sebentar tadi, akan membawa anda persembahan-persembahan yang menarik pada kali ini. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, sebagai permulaan konsert kita pada hari ini, kita mempunyai Surya, Anta, Ginting, iaitu juru cakap bagi Front Rakyat Indonesia untuk Papua Barat yang baru sahaja dibebaskan daripada penjara pada 26 hari bulan Mei lalu setelah menjalani hukuman penjara selama 9 bulan di penjara Salemba, Jakarta bersama 5 orang aktivis Papua Barat yang lain. Mereka dihukum kerana mengambil bahagian dalam tunjuk perasaan anti-rasisme pada tahun lalu, di mana bendera bintang kejora Papua Barat didakwa dinaikkan. Dia adalah orang Indonesia, bukan Papua, pertama yang didakwa dengan makar atau pengkhianatan sejak kejatuhan Orde Baru Suharto. Pada kali ini, dia akan menyampaikan satu versi a cappella daripada lagu yang berjudul Hidup Ini Suatu Misteri Membesak. Lagu ini, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, ditulis oleh pemuzik Papua, seorang aktivis dan tahanan politik pada ketika itu bernama Arnold Ed. Lagu ini membincangkan hasrat rakyat Papua untuk bebas. Mari kita saksikan persembahan yang pertama pada petang ini daripada Surya, Anta, Ginting. Dipersilakan.
Hidup ini suatu misteri tak terbayang juga tak terduga. Beginilah kenyataan hidup. Aku terkurung di dalam duniaku yang ku damba, yang ku nanti tiada lain, hanya kebebasan. Yang ku damba, yang ku nanti tiada lain, hanya kebebasan. The song is about hope for freedom. The title is Mystery of Life, written by Arnold Ab when he was in prison. Mystery of Life is his last song before he was killed by Special Force of Army in 1984. Hello, I'm Surya Anta, the spokesperson of Indonesia People Front for West Papua, FreeWP, and the first Indonesian political prisoners on West Papuan issue. FreeWP is the Indonesian solidarity group who support the right of self-determination for West Papuan people. West Papuan people urgently need international solidarity and our actions. For the last 57 years, West Papuan people face colonialisms, racisms, militarisms, and unlawful killing by Indonesia government and military. It is important for international community to open their eyes and mind about the occupations and colonializations to West Papuan people and their homeland. We believe through international solidarity and concrete actions, West Papuan people will get their rights, not only a right to speech and expressions, but ultimately the right to self-determination as dignified nations. Again, we ask international solidarity and concrete actions for the dignified life and freedom of West Papuan people. Mabuhay! Wa, Merdeka!
Thank you so much, Surya, Anta, Ginting of the Indonesian People's Front for West Papua or Front Rakyat Indonesia. So let's proceed with more of our performances. The next song that we will hear is from Diva for Equality for West Papuan, from our West Papuan sisters. This song was sung during the Second Pacific Feminist Forum in Fiji in May 2019, and it is inspired by Alicia Keys' We Are Here, with a special twist to the lyrics. Diva for Equality or Diverse Voices and Action fights for lesbian, bisexual, trans, and marginalized women and people to have human rights recognized in Fiji and to fully participate in life. So everybody, let's all welcome Diva for Equality Fiji.
For the first theater, but now since our sisters from West Papua is here, this song is dedicated to you. Oh, thank you. This is a song that was written by Alicia Keys, but kind of tweaked to make Pacific kind of song. No. West Papua. Merdeka! We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. It's why we are here. We are here. We are here. Merdeka Papua. Trying to get the freedom they never had. Let's stop the genocide. So near and so sad. And while we make this development, we make a stand for the innocent. Right now it don't make sense. Right now it don't make sense. Let's talk revolution. Let's talk solidarity. Let's talk about justice. Let's talk about, let's get ready to stop, yeah.
Terima kasih kepada rakan-rakan kita di Fiji dengan sebuah lagu yang sangat bermakna dalam bentuk penyampaian mesej-mesej solidariti. Saya Atama Katama daripada ILPS Malaysia. Untuk makluman juga kepada teman-teman di sekretariat, saya menghadapi sedikit masalah signal. I'm facing a small problem of signal, but let me now teruskan. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, penonton sekalian, sebelum kita meneruskan persembahan seni yang seterusnya, marilah kita sama-sama mendengar pesanan daripada Rita Baua daripada Bagong Alyansang Makabayan Bayan ataupun Perikatan Patriotik Baru. Bayan adalah pakatan organisasi rakyat yang nasional dan pelbagai sektor terbesar di Filipina. Ia berkempen untuk hak demokrasi nasional bagi pemuda, petani, pekerja, wanita, anak-anak, masyarakat adat orang asal dan sektor lain di negara Filipina, serta untuk diaspora Filipina yang berada di luar negara. Mari kita dengar pesanan daripada Rita Baua dari Bagong Alyansang Makabayan.
Warmest solidarity greetings to the leaders of mass organizations and to the people of West Papua. This greeting is being sent to you by the Bagong Alyansang Makabayan in the Philippines or New Patriotic Alliance. The Bagong Alyansang Makabayan is the largest political umbrella organization of militant groups of different sectors. It has been around in the Philippines for 35 years. It has conducted thousands of mass campaigns, political education, international solidarity work, including meeting up or dealing with other political groups for the national and democratic interest of the Filipino people. Bayan has been supporting the struggles of the people of West Papua for their liberation, not only from Indonesian occupation, but most of all from imperialist control of your natural resources. For the past 2 years, Bayan has been leading or supporting the campaigns and educational activities about the people of West Papua. It has mobilized some of its leaders to attend political education and mass actions, particularly in front of the Indonesian embassy. So we would like to extend our solidarity to the people of West Papua and rest assured that in the next coming years we will continue our solidarity for the liberation of the people of West Papua for self-determination. Mabuhay and long live international solidarity.
Terima kasih kepada rakan kita daripada Bayan di Filipina. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, Tubaw Music Collective adalah satu ensemble yang membanggakan dirinya dalam menghasilkan dan mempersembahkan lagu-lagu mengenai perjuangan, aspirasi dan kemenangan rakyat. Tubaw mengumpulkan kumpulan-kumpulan penulis lagu, pelakon dan artis visual muda bersemangat dan nasionalis yang berikrar untuk menggunakan muzik mereka bagi mempengaruhi generasi muda untuk turut serta di dalam mencapai keamanan yang adil dan berkekalan untuk semua. Untuk lagu mereka berjudul Di Yandi, yaitu istilah tempatan untuk ritual perdamaian solidariti daripada suku Bagobo dan Balaan di Mindanao, Filipina. Mari kita sekarang tuan-tuan dan puan-puan mendengar Edge Yung Yuyan Guren daripada Tubaw. Dipersilakan.
Ang susunod na kanta ay may pamagat na Diandi Para sa mga bagobot blaan, ito po ay nangangahulugan ng peace pact o kapayapaan. Para po sa ating lahat, ito po ay pakikisangkot at pakikibahagi sa pakikibaka ng katutubong mamamayan para sa kanilang karapatan sa lupang ninuno at sa sariling pagpapasya. At para sa ating lahat, ito rin ay paglaban sa lahat ng anyo ng korupsyon at pandarambong, pagyurak sa ating mga demokratikong karapatan, panunupil, at ito rin ay para biguin ang terorismo ng Estado. Sana po'y maibigan ninyo ang version na ito ng awiting Dayandi para po sa inyong lahat. Itigil ang karahasan, Dayande, yeah. Dayande, yeah. Dayande, yeah. Dayande. Pakinggan mong mga bulong na mga kulisap sa hangin, di mo'y nagbabantang may dayuhang parating. Pasang mga araw, pinasagdi ng karimlan, lumanak ang mga dugo, pinaslang ang lumalaban. Dayande, yeah. Dayande, yeah. Dayande, yeah. Karahasan laban sa taong bayan, wakas ang pagsasamantala, ngayon tayo'y magkaisa. Dayandi, pakinggan mong mga sigaw na mga kulisap sa hangin, hindi mo'y naglalayong ay marating. Lumipas ang mga araw, binasagdi ng karimlan, lumanak ang mga dugo, umiitingang panglaban. Itigil ang karahasan laban sa taong bayan, wakas ang pagsasamantala, ngayon tayo'y magkaisa. Dayandi, 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 itigil ang karahasan.
Itigil ang kaalasan. Wow, itigil ang kaalasan. Beberapa pepatah yang di akhirnya sangat membawa gamit perasaan untuk solidarity. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, Anda masih lagi bersama-sama kami dalam siaran langsung secara Facebook Live untuk Solidaritas Budaya melalui konsert live di Facebook pada saat ini. Teman-teman yang menonton dari Australia dan sampai ke Oxford, mari kita sekarang mendengar satu message kumpulan daripada solidariti antarabangsa yang berusaha membawa isu-isu perjuangan Papua Barat di luar negara hingga di khalayak yang lebih besar. Inilah dia gerakan Papua Bebas dan Papua Militan Antarabangsa. Mari kita tonton video message Solidarity.
Hi and Bulavinaka to all our Free West Papua family around the world. My name is Andy Holmes and I'm the coordinator at the Free Papua Movement Australia. I'm based in Sydney.
Hello everyone, my name is Serogo Tabuni. I'm Papua Militant International, based in Oxford and in UK, also advisor for Pre-Papua Movement Australia, include the Pre-Papua Movement branch around the world.
And our mission is to incite action for the freedom of West Papua. Our vision is an independent West Papua. In Australia, people support the cause because West Papua was our ally in the Second World War, and also because we don't want what happened here with the Aboriginal people of Australia to be happening 250 kilometers north of Australia, which is the longest occupation in the world. And so we're here to say, we're not going to be silent anymore. We're going to stop this. And so our call to action, we're starting to collect information from Australian citizens and Australian voters just to know which electorate they belong to, and just so I can be able to categorize that and be able to reach out to the community and say, hey, you've got other Free West Papua supporters in your area, and there's a lot of numbers. I can see there's a lot and enough numbers there for you to start lobbying your local members. So all of that is building up towards the eventual lobbying that we'll be doing when I'm a fully fledged lawyer. You can reach us through our page on Facebook called the Free Papua Movement Australia.
And also our website, westpapuanews.org.
Free West
Free
Papua!
West Papua!
Thank you. Thank you so much to the Free West Papua Movement, Free Papua Movement, and Papua Militant International, wherever you are in the world. And if you want to establish and build our solidarity network, Merdeka West Papua Support Network is here to help you establish one in support of our West Papuan brothers and sisters. You can message us through our social media pages in Twitter, Facebook, and on our website, Merdeka West Papua Support Network. And you can also reach us through the pages, social media pages and website of ILPS Asia Pacific or the IPM SDL. So this is Solidaritas untuk Papua, Asia Pacific Solidarity West Papua Concert. We are broadcasting live in IPM SDL Facebook page and the ILPS Asia Pacific Facebook page. Now let's move on with our next song. It's entitled Bon Bekaki. This is a song of the Biak people of West Papua. It means high mountains in English. The Biak people are a singing people. They have a saying, Ingo Orda Ido, Inari Ingomar, which means without singing, we shall die. Their traditional songs are usually accompanied by drums and chanting in their cultural and daily activities. In this performance, Henk Rumbewas and his colleagues will sing Bon Bekaki with this traditional drum called siret, made of dugout timber and lizard skin. This drum is shared cultural symbol of indigenous Papuans in West Papua and Papua New Guinea also. So everybody, let's all welcome Henk Rumbewas for Bon Bekaki.
Yeah.
Wow. Terima kasih Henk, sebuah persembahan yang begitu bersemangat dan latar belakang bendera yang begitu memberi semangat kepada kita semua untuk terus berjuang dan bersolidaritas. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, untuk artis kami yang seterusnya, marilah kita berikan masa, ruang untuk Krystal Juffa daripada Youngsolwara Pasifik dengan sebuah puisi yang berjudul Kulitku Jas Hujanku ataupun dalam English My Skin My Raincoat. Youngsolwara adalah gerakan serantau dari sekumpulan aktivis daripada Pasifik yang berkongsi keperhatian bersama mengenai isu-isu yang mempengaruhi orang Pasifik dan pulau-pulau mereka. Kita saksikan sekarang persembahan Krystal Juffa dan puisinya My Skin, My Raincoat. Dipersilakan.
My name is Krystal Elizabeth. Fully so with Juffa. This is my poem, My Skin, My Raincoat. Possible to feel welcome in my own home, I call my skin my raincoat. Stars that seemed only alive when you're about to leave falsely in your gravel seat sinking boat. Saw my mother get dragged by the limb, beaten by that thing they call protection. By the man who carelessly wiped not a flinch of his grin as he pulled her. I could not shed a tear, rather cry within my blood cells that boiled in the entrails of my, what is it called? A pulsating, throbbing thing on the left side of my chest, so bare and battered, that has been snatched along with my, what do you call it? That voracious act, without chains, so invisible, that hurt without restraint, where I can stand alongside what I want to say. Freedom, my freedom. My brother of 200 kilometers, and my father, without a foresight left in him, who refuses to believe me anymore. I feel I have feet that refuse to work anymore, with bones that refuse to function, a tongue that's stuck and cannot move, hands that don't feel a scent of attention. Help me, my brother. I'm only drowning in this flood of repressed affection and hand-picked restraints of whips that hurt no more. My truth you only see in black and white, detaining me of my culture, my land, my children. I've been sour sipping crude cups of neglect filled with nonity but faceless words and stray. I'm shackled in my own despondency, but I won't fall. I will live on, for I call my skin my raincoat. So my poetry, this poem was written about the West Papuans, how they don't know when their mother will be taken from them. A child will not know when their mother will be taken from them. Today, tomorrow, their father beaten, dragged. Freedom cannot be uttered from their lips. They know not of a freedom that we so selfishly give away and take for granted. Youngsolwara produces art and expresses people's struggles through that art, poetry, dancing, choreography, all around the Pacific. Youngsolwara also fights for peace and self-determination. And one day we all hope to achieve that peace amongst us all, to live with our brethren in West Papua and call ourselves sovereign, and only then will we be free.
Freedom, our freedom. It's the message of Krystal. Thank you so much, Krystal. And now let's move on to more songs and art that is really uplifting and build greater solidarity. Uh, International League of People's Struggle, the one of the organizers of this concert, is one of the biggest worldwide anti-imperialist and democratic affirmations of democratic organizations with different regional and country chapters. The league has a regional chapter here in Asia Pacific with ILPS Indonesia as one of its members. The country chapter in Indonesia co-founded the Merdeka West Papua Support Network when it was founded in 2017 to show the unity and solidarity of Indonesian and West Papuan movements against oppression and for genuine freedom. Here's a message from ILPS Indonesia. This will be followed by a lively performance from Mineral 7, a progressive Indonesian band that believes in the principle of arts and culture for the people. You can listen to more of their songs by following their YouTube and Instagram pages, mineral7.official. So everybody, let's hear the message from Ramat of ILPS Indonesia and the song Papua Kita Bersaudara of Mineral 7.
Selamat sore untuk seluruh peserta Solidaritas Kebudayaan untuk Rakyat Papua. Saya Rahmat dari ILPS Indonesia, sekaligus juga anggota ICC ILPS. Saya akan menyampaikan pesan solidaritas ILPS Indonesia untuk perjuangan rakyat Papua. Ada 4 poin yang ingin kami sampaikan untuk mendukung perjuangan rakyat Papua. Pertama, ILPS Indonesia mengakui hak sebuah bangsa, masyarakat, individu untuk menentukan nasib sendiri, termasuk hak untuk memisahkan diri. Kedua, ILPS Indonesia mendukung penuh bangsa dan rakyat Papua untuk membebaskan diri dari dominasi imperialisme, feodalisme, dan kapitalisme birokrat yang dipresentasikan oleh negara RI. Ketiga, minta agar para tahanan yang ditahan karena ambil bagian dalam gerakan pembebasan tidak dianggap dan tidak diperlakukan sebagai kriminal bagi sipil dan kriminal bersenjata bagi kekuatan pembebasan rakyat Papua dan meminta segera dibebaskan dari tahanan. Keempat, pembebasan rakyat Papua berarti membebaskan kaum tani, kelas buruh, suku bangsa minoritas, serta seluruh kelas pekerja di Papua. Mereka harus dijamin kebebasannya untuk berserikat, berpendapat secara bebas. Bebas dari teror, intimidasi, persekusi, dan kekerasan bersenjata. Dipenuhi dan diperhatikan tuntutannya secara sungguh-sungguh untuk memperbaiki keadaan ekonomi, politik, dan kebudayaan agar bisa meraih kemajuan dan kebebasan. Panjang umur perjuangan rakyat, panjang umur solidaritas internasional.
merintis pembangunan. Derita rakyat harus dibalas, para perlawanan tak mungkin dipadamkan. Rakyat Papua, kita bersaudara. Rakyat Papua, musuh kita sama. Rakyat Papua, ayo berjuang bersama. Rakyat Papua, kita harus menangkan perjuangan ini.
Thank you so much. A wonderful performance from Mineral 7 and a very uplifting message from ILPS Indonesia. In the past months, we have witnessed Indonesians, especially the youth, rally behind West Papuans from issues of racism, human rights, and even self-determination. West Papuans are again calling for international solidarity, international support in their petition to end the West Papuans' special autonomy status under Indonesia. This campaign carries their demand to let the people of West Papua decide on their own fate, a right which they have long been deprived of. So the Papuans People's Petition is currently supported by 34 organizations in West Papua and Indonesia. For more information on how you can support this campaign, the Papua People's Petition, you can look at it. You can look up Petisi Rakyat Papua, Petisi Rakyat Papua on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Again, everyone who is watching live on Facebook, welcome and hello to everyone. This is a free concert, Solidarity concert, as a wrap-up finale of our West Papua month, Solidarity month. So let's move on with our next speaker. Our next speaker is a well-known Indonesian human rights activist and a lawyer for Papuan groups and leaders, Veronica Koman, who has been subjected to harassment and abuses to her continuing work on human rights violations in Papua. Now exiled in Australia, let's listen to her message and her challenge for everyone in our fight for West Papua's right to self-determination.
Hi everyone, I'm Veronica Koman. I'm Indonesian human rights lawyer now in exile in Australia because Indonesian police want me for my West Papua work. What's happening in West Papua is colonialism by my country Indonesia and new imperialism by the US especially and all other transnational companies that overexploit the natural resources in West Papua. As a human rights lawyer, I cannot think of any single human right that is not violated in West Papua. That's why I would like to ask you to make your voice heard on social media, to initiate protest in about West Papua in wherever cities you are, because this is this long denial of the right to self-determination of West Papuan people need to be ended once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Veronica. And that's our challenge for everyone to make our voice heard, whether online or offline, for our West Papuan brothers. Again, this is Solidaritas untuk Papua, the Asia Pacific Solidarity for West Papua concert. And we are broadcasting live in IPM SDL Facebook page and ILPS Asia Pacific Facebook page. So we are down to the last parts of our program, and it's the best time to hear this Papuan song about coming together. celebrating life and the spirit of resilience. You can sing along and share the energy by the Black Orchid String Band in their song Yapo Mama Chicha. Again, Black Orchid String Band with Yapo Mama Chicha.
Yapo mama ya icha kakai mama kakai mama. Yapo mama chicha kakai mama kakai mama. Yapo mama ya icha kakai mama kakai mama.
Itulah dia persembahan yang begitu mantap sekali daripada Black Orchid String Band dengan lagu mereka Yapo Mama Chicha. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, ada pepatah kami di Malaysia yang mengatakan mana-mana yang barang kita bermula pasti ada penghabisannya. Untuk menyampaikan pesanan penutup daripada kami dan untuk mengucapkan terima kasih secara resmi kepada semua orang yang menonton kami pada hari ini. Berikut adalah Malcolm Guy daripada Pusat Pekerja Imigran di Kanada dan Naib Ketua ILPS untuk bahagian eksternal. Dipersilakan Malcolm Guy dengan pesanan penutupan.
I'm very pleased to be able to take part in this concluding event of the Solidarity Month for West Papua. The International League of People's Struggle has been honored to have helped organize this series of webinars on the struggle in West Papua, along with the International Indigenous Peoples Movement for Self-Determination and Liberation and the Merdeka West Papua Global Support Network. I've been impressed by the quality of the presentations and the level of organization of this webinar series. I wasn't always able to join given time differences. I live in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, but I've enjoyed watching and learning a great deal from the recordings of the 3 episodes. I'm pleased to note that I'm not alone in enjoying the video recordings. I see that episode 3 has been watched by almost 6,000 people and has been shared 250 times on Facebook. Thanks to your hard work, one of the longest lasting occupations in the world is now no longer one of the least known. I and many others around the globe learned about the historic West Papua uprising of 2019 and the bravery and determination of West Papuans despite the violent crackdowns of the Indonesian government. I and many others around the globe have learned how the struggle for self-determination is an assertion of indigenous and non-indigenous peoples' collective human rights against national oppression. In West Papua, the unity of the indigenous West Papuans and the non-indigenous population, the migrant population, will help all West Papuans to move forward. I was impressed by the political forces that are working hard to overcome differences and to unite their struggles. I was impressed at how progressive West Papuans understand that the enemy is not the people of Indonesia, but the imperialist-backed Indonesian regime. I was pleased to see that there is a growing understanding that West Papua's assertion of their right to self-determination does not undermine the unity of the Indonesian and the West Papuan people. And I've been reminded why the Indonesian regime and its imperialist backers are so interested in West Papua. Because, as you well know, among other riches, West Papua is home to the world's largest gold mine and the second largest copper mine. And so it's no surprise that the site of the giant Mimika Regency mine is one of the most militarized regions in West Papua and a hotspot for human rights violations. I'd like to take a step back to look at the world situation in which this important month of solidarity with West Papua has taken place. As we are all too well aware, US-led imperialism and the forces of repression and reaction are stepping up their offensive globally, and the regime in Indonesia is one of US imperialism's loyal allies. The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the aggressive and reactionary nature of imperialism and the reactionary regimes who fall under its sway. But it's also exposed the imperialist system's weaknesses and failings. These were previously laid bare in the serious economic crisis that started in 2008-2009, as well as the ongoing climate crisis. While the US remains extremely dangerous, it's a superpower in strategic decline and is no longer the only imperialist power on the bloc. Despite the bombast and aggressive tweets, Washington is somewhat overstretched and under pressure internally and externally. Over the past 5 months, we've entered a period of rapid change, a period of revolutionary potential, a period of very serious dangers, but at the same time a period of limitless possibilities if the people of the world can and do seize the moment. Since its creation 2 decades ago, the International League of People's Struggle has stood in steadfast and militant solidarity with people struggling for their self-determination and liberation from Palestine to West Papua. Now present in over 40 countries and territories and with over 400 mass organizations as members, including West Papua and Indonesia, the League uses its combined strength of hundreds of thousands of workers, peasants, students, women, teachers, indigenous peoples, peace advocates, and others to support your struggle. The International League of People's Struggle fully supports the justness of the West Papuan people's right to wage all forms of resistance against the unlawful Indonesian occupation of West Papua. The ILPS is confident that the people united will never be defeated. Long live international solidarity. Long live the struggle of the people of Papua for justice and self-determination. Merdeka West Papua.
Tuan-tuan dan puan, kawan-kawan sekalian, pejuang-pejuang di seluruh dunia, saya Atama bersama rakan penyampai Paul Belisario mengambil kesempatan ini untuk mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada penganjur serta penyampai dan juga artis-artis yang membintangi konsert kita pada petang ini. Saya sebutkan dan menghargai jasa mereka pada hari ini. Merdeka West Papua Support Network, ILPS Asia Pacific, IPM SDL, ILPS Komisi ke-10, ILPS Global, Front Rakyat Indonesia untuk West Papua, Diva for Equality daripada Fiji, Bagong, Alyansang, Makabayan. Paul, teruskan.
And also, thank you to our other performers, Tubaw, Free Papua Movement, and Papua Militant International, Henk Rumbewas, Krystal Juffa of Youngsolwara Pacific, ILPS Indonesia, Mineral 7, thank you to Veronica Koman, and of course, thank you to the Black Orchid Stringband. Again, I am Paul, and this is my partner for tonight, Atama Katama. So let this be not the last, but the start of greater unity in our campaign for West Papua. And we hope to see you again and be with you always in forwarding our calls.
Di dalam bahasa, Paul, begini maksudnya. Biarkan ini bukan yang terakhir, tetapi hanya satu permulaan perpaduan yang lebih besar dalam kempen kita untuk Papua Barat. Kami berharap dapat berjumpa dengan Anda semua dan sentiasa bersama-sama Anda dalam meneruskan panggilan-panggilan kami yang kami akan umumkan chant sekarang. Silakan, Paul.
Free West Papua.
Bebaskan Papua Barat.
Free all Papuan political prisoners.
Bebaskan semua tahanan politik orang Papua.
Struggle for self-determination.
Perjuangan untuk penentuan nasib sendiri.
And long live international solidarity.
Dan hiduplah Solidaritas International.
Struggle for self-determination.
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 Makibaka.
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 Makibaka para sa sariling pagpapasya.
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 Struggle for self-determination.
Down with imperialism.
Struggle for self-determination.
Down with imperialism.
In solidarity. Struggle for self-determination.
Down with imperialism.
Berjuang untuk penentuan diri.
Hancurkan imperialisme.
Struggle for self-determination.
Down with imperialism.
Nasasanga ni beba kandeta kini tamatayan dua.
Ena kena baksukai na bibau di baktadala ena ndela ni bibakarei.
Ivo eto nango nao hau katora. Nango to ihare manebe metora.
Ninalik Aryak, Ninangarwang Gwiti, Kambugun. Papua Merdeka.
Katungod to kaugalingon o pagbuot agun o gawangon kan imperialismo.
Makibiso para sa kaugalingong pagbuot.
Makidangadang para itibukot na panangudeng supyatan ti imperialismo.
Ipaglaban ang karapatan para sa sariling pagpapasya.
Imperialismo ibagsak.
Ibagsak ang imperialismo.
Makilaban para kang sariling kapasyan. Kamatayan para kang imperialismo.
Struggle for self-determination. Imperialism.
Down, down.
Imperialism.
Down, down.
Imperialism.
Down, down.
Struggle for self-determination. Down with imperialism. Struggle for self-determination. Down with imperialism. Struggle for self-determination. Down with imperialism.